number 14, and he will also continue with sloka number 15 also. Natarajan.
Suddenly it got disconnected. So everything has to. Okay. So we saw last time the verse 14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yadantasya dridhavrataah namasyantasya mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. So everybody, here the word used dridhavrata. That is, with no total that resolve that I must experience God or know God or realize that sort of thing. That is, it's a very serious. That is tivira. It's what is mumukshu. It's not casually. Let me say, okay, what happens? Let me have a look. Not like that. He wants to really spend as much time as possible. So that's why it's that satatam kirtayanto mam, all the time thinking about him and praising him. He means here he used the word me, against Krishna. So here what happens is that mumukshutvam should be rather very serious. That means, see, when we do play games and learn music and so many things. See, so out of so many people, some people would like to reach a very high level. If a fellow he is starting to learn tennis, let's say, he would like to at least play for the state initially, then for the country, then slowly he will try for a game like Wimbledon or US Open, that sort of thing. That means he is so serious. He wants to go till the end. For that, whatever is required, he will definitely do it. For example, right from food and the training. See, initially, we ourselves, when you start playing, we reach really to some level. Afterwards, you need a coach. Here it is something like a guru. Then taking part in so many tournaments. So he is so serious. Otherwise, the people play just to spend time or just to enjoy the game. So that sort of categories. Even when we start playing like that, the Krishna says the people who are very serious about the realizing the God, they all the time think of me. That means Krishna. This is to start with. That means worshipping all the time, thinking about him, talking about that. That's what you saw in the previous sloka. Nitya yukta upasate, all the time connected, all the time. So now that means all the time means yes. Slowly he is understanding. Whenever there is some thought comes, he immediately thinks. So we have seen, some people, at least that's why all these things are there. The morning when they get up, they do some prayer. When you start taking food, some prayer is chanted. Or similarly, wherever he wants to go out, means again. So it's slowly the thought about the Creator or the God is all the time. It's there. That means they want to. They are very serious. So all the time. So whenever there is time, going by bus or train or flight, whenever there is time, they think of God. Think means what? Initially, to understand what God is and how he, how he activates us and animates us. So all those things he tries to understand. So if he has got a guru, he discusses with him all the doubts and everything, how the world is created. Then all questions will come. Why some are very poor? They are suffering, some are enjoying life like that. All these doubts, even these, they get disconnected. I don't know why in between. For you all, it's okay, is it? It gets disconnected within about 2-3 times it has happened. Okay. So this is the how they worship me, and this is one kind. The other one, slowly that there is an understanding of God, and slowly there is some that understanding evolves to next stage like that. So that's what is explained in the 15th sloka. ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम् ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम्. We'll quickly see every word, the meaning. Yajantah, that means worshipping. Jnana yajnana, through jnana yajna. What is that? We'll see. Chapyanye, some others, mam upasate, think of me or worship me. Bahuda, in many ways. Pradakvena, as different from themselves. Oh, God is there, I am here, like that. Ekatvena, as identical with themselves. That means they understood what is Aham Brahmasmi. And another Vishwato Mukham, as multivarious one. So here, worshipping me through Jnana Yajna, some others think of me in many ways as different from themselves, as identical with themselves, as the multivarious one. So that means what? Some people, here it's a word uses others, worship the Supreme as through contemplation. This is important. Through contemplation they worship. That means thinking about in God, about His power and all these things. What they worship, contemplate on its universal aspect in singular as well as plural forms. Such introspectional pursuit is called Jnana Yajna. That means contemplative devotion. This is the thing, the contemplative. In fact, to understand clearly what God is. See, initially, because we always think when we say Krishna, we get his form, based on form. So we go to wherever, especially Krishna worshippers, they go to places like Guruvayur and they start, they are happy to visit there and understand. But slowly they start thinking. See, after now going through Gita and such scriptures, they know that God is all pervasive. So slowly that understanding rather becomes clearer and clearer. So whether the Guru Krishna, whether we go there to see the form or its power, we worship him for its power. That power, his Shakti, is it there only in the Murti or in the form, or it is there around it, or about to say 1 meter around it, that is inside the sanctum sanctorum? Or does it have now outside but does it mean that power? How far it is there? Actually, if you go on thinking, it is there everywhere. That's what we say. That means everything is that only. So when we say see the God, say a minute, what is it? It's all pervading presence, non-dual presence. This we have seen many times. It is there everywhere. There is no place where it is not there. So whether it is a table, chair, or this, or man, or bird, or whatever it is all pervading means it should be everywhere. Other day we saw including the dead body. The Atma, it is there everywhere. So if it is not there in some place, it is not Brahman. So it is we have not understood clearly. So to that stage, slowly we evolve. It doesn't mean that we see whenever there is chance come, we do go to temple, one trip, or say it's not that you avoid, but we have with clear understanding. Everywhere it is there. There that ambience is created in temple means. So that's why we go there, and many people go there, and we feel, the vibration is better. All these things we say and we do feel. So, but really it is there. This is because of so many people come, and there is a feeling that when we go in there and then sit there, it gives peace. It is like even ashrams. When you go there, when we especially see a guru, there is a sort of a peace which we feel inside. So that's why we go there. Similarly, this temple, but we have understood that it is everywhere. So that stage, step by stage, then understanding improves. So this introspectional pursuit is very important, and that is called Jnana Yajna. So that is trying to understand, knowledge based. That is the Jnana. So think about what is that invisible supreme, which is the source of the whole creation. We call first initially creation, that word is used. Afterwards, we understand that God itself is the word. That means, as in Vishnu Sahasranama, Vishwam Vishnu. So everything in that, so it manifests in the form of word. So this understanding slowly, when we think, this contemplation is very much required. Whenever there is confusion, we do discuss with the people who have experience. We call now our guru, and slowly or go through scriptures where it is clearly explained. So the understanding of God is, in fact, that is, or that only the contemplation. This itself, Krishna calls, it's a devotion. Thinking about it, not simply just praising alone, but all the time. Praising also will be there. When you feel like singing, we generally only the sort of bhajans and other things. It comes in my mind. So this is and it gives peace. There is, bhajans also, it's a sort of contemplation only. Especially if we understand the meaning, so it's so nice to sing some of the bhajans. Even Bhagavad Gita, to chant, it gives a sort of, especially some of the chapters, if we have understood, it gives that feeling, and it makes us understand clearly that it's everywhere. Even in the second chapter itself, some of the sloka, when we chant, it gives that whatever we call that peace. So we feel so good after chanting. So it slowly things develop, and what happens? First, we think the world is created by God. Then we understand that God himself is the world. See, there are this understanding, even though we understood, when it comes to practical level, sometimes there is some sort of, we don't make use of that understanding, that is implement. So there is a story normally referred by Swami Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. It comes in Tripura Rahasya. There is a prince and princess. The prince marries her. She was a saint's daughter, adopted daughter. But she is in a high level, she has realized. And this prince likes her, and he marries her also. Then, when both of them, they go back to his kingdom, to this palace, daily there is a routine. So, she, of course, every time she will say, what is that? Especially the worldly things and the personal things, all these things. If he spends more time, she reminds her. So, why we spend so much? Why we say it is enjoyable and all these, some of the activities? And she says, she slowly teaches him what is meant by happiness. When you say enjoyable, what is it? What happens? Slowly she explains, and he also gets interest. Then he wants to really contemplate. So he leave the palace and go to a secluded place, maybe a sort of a forest or some places. And he spends about 9 years there, and he is very happy. Whenever he closes the eye, he gets that, samadhi state quickly. So he feels that he is happy. So he spends a lot of time in that state. When he comes back, in the house also, whenever there is time, that is in the palace also, he sits and then meditates. Once the evening he starts and it takes 2-3 hours. So when the dinner time comes, his wife, that the princess, she will try to touch him and then tell him that no, dinner is ready, you must take. So when he tries to wake him up, he say, "Oh, I was so happy you had disturbed me." Then she will say, "What is disturbance? Just by opening your eyes, such a so like he example given is like a wheat size, that much when you open your piece is affected means you have not learned much. So you have to understand more." So again she said, "You go and spend some more years in the forest." He goes back and again he contemplates what is called the happiness, this sort of thing, what happens in the our inside. Then he understands that also, and then he comes back. That means what the princess tried to tell him was, see, everything is that only. It's not that closing the eyes only when you get samadhi, you are with yourself, and that is Brahman or God. Once you understood that, except that there is nothing else, then there is a clear understanding. So nothing disturbs, whether you are sitting and meditating or eating or talking to your the prajas. So that means people. Or when you are in the war field, everywhere this should continue, because that alone does everything. This is the ultimate level. So nothing disturbs. All the time, I means I am that peaceful presence. So other things they are just happening in my presence, in me. So that sort of understanding, she slowly makes him understand fully. So afterwards, anyway, the story goes that they, even other ministers and other people around, they teach this, and after some time, the entire country, so everybody would have realized. That is a thing which is explained. So this, so when we contemplate, it can be just on a invisible presence or a particular that form, which can be many. Like this, that word here used is what is that? Vishwatomukam. Like Vishwa, that's it comes in again. Krishna Sahasranam also. Bhupado Chandra Surya Uchanetre, like that. So my eyes are those Surya and Chandra, like that. My foot is on. So that means what? Everywhere it is that. Even for that, some form is imagined. So it goes. So the understandings like this. Slowly, when we think, and it gives. Once we understand, in fact, that gives rather peace and happiness, and the doubts are totally resolved. So there is no doubt at all. So everything is that, and that peace is there all the time. So this is it's a sort of fullness. It is purnam. It's a word generally used. So absolutely no doubt. So this question slowly from worshipping single God, then many, then invisible God, and when you say Vishwatomukam means entire universe is that, like Vishwarupa Darshanam, which is going to come in the 11th chapter. So everything is that only. There is not. We don't have to think of especially a God. Whatever is even the curtain, everything is that only. That's the other day we saw. That means people say when the body drops at that time, whatever we think, that will, so better to think of God. But for a person who has understood clearly, everything is God. So even the window or building, everything is there. With that understanding, no, separately we don't have to chant Narayana or Shiva or Krishna. When we understood everything is that, whatever you say, that is that. So that we don't have to even think, yes, this is also God. It sinks in the mind. So we see nothing but God. As when Vivekananda was asked, have you seen God? His reply I like very much. He will say, I see nothing but God. It is a fact. It's not just convince the questioner, he gave the answer. Whatever he is saying is God. This also we have seen, how it is God, how he says the statement. So when seeing means, we have seen many times, seeing the impression or image of the tree or building in the mind. So that mind understands that shape and it understands what it is, or it is building, it is tree and all. That means what? That image is made of consciousness, nothing but consciousness. So that is also God. Consciousness is God. When we see in a mirror, that face is made of glass. Similarly here, when I understand that, when the mind understands, what it understands, the imprint, image only, it feels and it forms a, it understands, oh, this is television, this is table, and this is a window and all this thing. So everything we see is an image in the mind, which is made of consciousness. So that when we understand, so whatever you see is made of consciousness or made of God. That's why Vivekananda told, whatever I see is God. I see nothing but God. It's a great statement. It is with a clear understanding he made the statement. In fact, he will, it's so casually he gives that reply. It is there in one of this recorded this thing also after the Chicago talk. It's so beautiful. So it's a fact. No, not exaggeration or any such thing. Or sometimes it happens. So God is there everywhere, and whatever we see is God. So the mind, after understanding like this, Egatmena, Pratikmena, Bahuda, Vishvato Mukam, slowly with the contemplation or introspection takes that person who does this sort of jnana yajna to that level, slowly. So that's what, this is what you can call realization or total understanding, and I've seen God, all these things. What is it? Direct experience of aparokshanubhuti. That means direct. No, it's not through seeing through eyes or any other thing. Direct experience. That thing really, after clear understanding, it happens automatically. That's why what is that? Upanishad, it says, finally, the Brahman, it just attracts, makes us, and attracts and puts us, that means we don't reach, when we reach a particular level, it itself absorbs us. That's what is happening. So when water slowly, when it goes near big pond, so pond will pull it. Similarly, the Brahman, when we all the time contemplating and trying to understand, this happens. Once it happens, there is no flash or that sort of thing. All the doubts drop. What the word uses is chit jara granthi. They accept that chit, that is the consciousness. All others are jadam. The thing which connects these two, that is chit jara granthi. It drops. That means what? Everything is there. The mind doesn't question. It is absolutely clear. No doubts, and no more actions or the so-called duty. Everything drops. That means what? The day-to-day, the samsara yatra, they call, it all just happens because of the blessings of God, whatever word we can put, we can use that. But this is what is happening. Things are just happening as our dream. Dream, we don't plan. It just happens. And once we get up, we understand it very clearly. Here also, things are just happening. So, and in our mind, because of the reflected, the consciousness, everything is understood. So when the clarity reaches the highest level, we don't, absolutely no doubt happens. Exactly right in dream, and when we get up, what happens. So we don't question anything. Why yesterday this happened? Why I was so happy, or I was so much worried. So none of those things we question. Things are clear. The same thing happens here. The dreamer forgets he was a baker a few hours before. So that's confusion. Once he wakes up, things are now settled. Same way, we have forgotten who we are. That's why first we have to understand that Ramana speaks for non-ya. So once it is understood, all doubts drop. Chit jada granthi, it completely vanishes. That's what this sort of jnana yajna, contemplating worship in the form of contemplation. It takes us to that level. So it's a very, as you say, every verse, when we go deeply, it gives so much of knowledge. So this is one such verses. So it's in 9th chapter, of course, till the end. That's why it's called Raja Gukya. Yeah. So it's the highest knowledge, Raja Vidya, Raja Gukya. So highest teaching, highest knowledge. That's so all the verses which are coming after 15 also. It's all every this thing when we contemplate, it gives so much of jnana or knowledge. So it's already 34, is it? Okay, I'll end here. Oh.
Thank you, Natarajan. Now we have a lot of confusion about when I say the word God, Bhagavan. We understand in a different manner. The God can be Nirguna Swarupa. Nirguna means without any attributes. And that is very difficult for us to visualize because we are used to visualization. That God, you can call it as destination God. Destination God. That is our ultimate goal of the journey of the life. What is another God? That is worshipping God. We have so many idols we worship. In Narayana itself, in the temple, we have Lord Ganapati, Shiva, Muruga, Navagraha, Krishna, Hanuman. That means every various, they are all worshipping gods. You may ask a question, why so many gods, and then why people are not going to destination God. But it is, as I told you, it is very, very, being the subtlest Nirguna Swarupa, we are used to Saguna Swarupa. We need some attributes. We are trained like that. And only very few get out of this circle. See, normally each one of us have got one Ishta Devata. That is, you can call it a traditional coming from the family. Somebody will have Mangalachalapati as their Ishta Devata. Somebody will have Hanuman as Ishta Devata. These are all the steps. And from Ishta Devata, we should get, after, once mind is getting finer and finer, subtler and subtler, then we have an inquisitiveness to go deep into scriptures. So when you go deep into scriptures, then we will understand why there are so many gods. And why so many gods means each one has his own liking. So he gets promoted from Ishta Devata to worshipping various gods. In Sanskrit, we call it as, first we have Eka Rupa. Eka Rupa means single god. And from there we graduate to Aneka Rupa. So when I see, if I am my Ishta Devata is Hanuman, then I see in Lord Shiva also Hanuman. That is Aneka Rupa. Or in Subramanya also I see Hanuman, my own Devata. But then I come to know there is only one God. That is the destination God. So Eka Rupa, graduated yourself to Aneka Rupa, and then from there, filtering, a very few people will reach the Arupa stage. Arupa means without form, no attributes. And that is what we talked in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, from sloka number 12 to 25. He has no form, he has no parts, he is Sarvatyaha. Like that, we talked about so many attributes. He is Akatta, he is Abhokta. So many attributes we saw for the Nirguna. So Eka Rupa to Aneka Rupa to Arupa. Now in sloka number 15, what Natarajan analyzed was Ekatvena Prutatvena Bahuda Vishwato Mukam. Ekatvena Prutatvena Bahuda Vishwato Mukam. He says there is only one God. Ekatvena means only one God. There are not many gods. I will say I. In English, I. That is we call it Uttama Purusha. I. Once I have I, then the second person is called you. I, then comes you. And then again it comes to he, she, they, all that comes later on. So this is how from Eka Rupa, that is Ekatvena, Prutatvena, duality, that is from Advaitam, we go back to Dvaitam, Vishitta Dvaitam, and then we go to Dvaitam, Aneka Rupa Dvaitam. Before creation of this world, there was only Brahman. And then from that Brahman, Upadana Karanam, material cause. Upadana Karanam, material cause. And Nimitta Karanam, efficient cause. So Bhagavan, that Brahman had these two components. Upadana Karanam and Nimitta Karanam. Upadana Karanam is the material cause. The other is called intelligent cause. But there was no world at all, no Jagat. There were no objects, nothing. when he created these two, and from there came Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jalam, and Prithvi. So the Bhagavan Nimitta Karanam, intelligent cause, he had one Maya under his control. Maya is a Shakti. So for any creation which is now available to us, so there are two causes, material cause and efficient cause. Now if I take a bangle or a chain made of gold, gold is the material cause, and the goldsmith is the nimitta karanam, because he knows how to make the garland, chain or bangle or necklace or ring. So the material is gold. The goldsmith gives the shape, form and name, because we have to differentiate between a ring and a chain and a necklace. So that is why the names are given. But name and form, they are not actual. They are not real. It is only a sort of to identify the various items made out of gold. They are able to differentiate between these two things. They are different things. If you go to a goldsmith shop, that the models are going on changing. This year one model, next year it is again changed. So the goldsmith, you will say that, oh, I am fed up of this particular design of the chain. I want to redo it to the current fashion. So then the goldsmith says, okay, give me this thing. What he does is he melts the ornament, because he gets it back to the gold, and from there he does the new one, new item, whatever has been the latest fashion. Gold remaining the same, but only the form and name has been changed. That's all. Latest fashion. Same thing happens with Bhagavan. Bhagavan has gold as his material cause and nimitta karanam, intelligent cause, because he knew what are the various forms and names which are all with him. And that is called Vishwato Mukham. Vishwato Mukham means whatever we perceive, any object we perceive, there are two components. If I see an ornament made of gold, I see gold and a name and form. The gold and name and form. Two things are there, inseparable. But if you remove the gold, there is no name and form. That's all. When I melt the gold, it becomes expert. So similarly here, Ishvara says here that Ishvara is destination God. So destination God means what? That is what we want to find out, because that is a center. Everybody has a center in the heart. That's why, we always say, and that center is all the time permanent. It doesn't get dislocated. And that is a macro system, micro system. And otherwise you can call it macro. That is Bhagavan, Brahman. If we understand this particular concept, then whatever we see in the world, when you open during sleep, our eyes are closed, there are no mind, there are no sense organs, there are no objects, there is no intellect, there is no ego, everything is slept, it is not active at all. Only what is active is your consciousness is there. Because you know that without the consciousness, you will not get up in the morning. That consciousness is called destination God. That consciousness is the destination God. That is what we want to, that is what is Atma Jnanam, self-realization. But to reach that stage from our condition, present day condition, because we are totally immersed in materialistic knowledge, materialistic thing, because my mind is all the time away from the center. See, center is only one, but you can make so many circles, circumferences. So, if I am seeing you from a 1 foot distance, or 10 feet distance, or 100 feet distance, or 1,000 feet distance, your figure goes on reducing. If I see from an airplane people walking in the earth, we will only see dots. That is called subtlety. So similarly here, the center we should be able to perceive, visualize. If you perceive the center, and if our mind is resting on that center, that is called samadhi. That is called yoga. And that is called Atma Jnanam, Atma Swarupam. But then, unfortunately, the mind says, okay, I will stay with you for some time when we are sleeping. But once we get up, what happens? That mind comes out, jumps out, and goes after materialistic things, attachments, objects. And then you have the two adjectives, mine and I. This is my house, my property, my wealth, my this thing. So naturally what happens is, and again to get back to the center, it's very difficult. That is what is, we call it, we need to do meditation. To do meditation is what? First we have karma yoga, because raga dvesha, we have attachment and aversions. If I see something, I like it or I don't like it. So first thing. So remove that. How can you remove that? Only thing is you should have samatvam, equanimity. I will see both same. Same thing happens in our Bhagavan also. So we should not find any difference between Hanuman, Krishna, or Shiva, or Parvati. Because if I like only Krishna, Hare Krishna people, only Krishna, they say Krishna is the only God, no other God. All other gods are inferior to Krishna. No, that is not. That is ekatva bhavam. That is, you stick to one thing, but you are not willing to compromise. But if I have the vision that everything is coming from the center is one, but others are many, then I will not see any difference between Hanuman or Krishna or Shiva. That means I have the samatva bhava. So karma yoga. So we did karma yoga. Karma yoga means that we have an understanding that everything is Bhagavan's creation, manifestation of Bhagavan. So what is that result we get? So whatever is the result we do out of any action with karma bhava, with karma yoga bhava, attitude of karma yoga, that means I treat that as prasada from Bhagavan. Whichever Bhagavan. So there's no disparity between this Bhagavan and that Bhagavan. That is called Ishvarupa Darshanam. That is, the 11th chapter is called, 10th chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga, and 11th chapter is called Vishwarupa Yoga. So that both these chapters, 10 and 11, everything is the glory of Bhagavan. Everything, whatever we see, whatever we enjoy, whatever we suffer, including suffering also, because we always prefer only what we like. but we never see. For example, if I have to get some sickness, I don't like getting sickness. So slowly Bhagavad Gita is taking us through these chapters 7 to 12 that see Bhagavan as a only Lord. Other than Bhagavan, there is nothing. That this Bhagavan is the destination Bhagavan, not worshipping Bhagavan. Worshipping Bhagavan, yes, you need the worship first. That is the first step. And through that worshipping Bhagavan, you graduate yourself to destination Bhagavan. Like, when we take a train journey, say from Coimbatore to Chennai, there will be so many stations in between. The train stops there. But ultimate destination is Chennai. So similarly here, we should have that. That is what he said, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Resolute. That means only God I should go. That means there are so many gods, but they are all worshipping gods, not destination gods. See, for example, now we are getting Ganesh Chaturthi next week. So what we do, we get an idol of the Ganesha. So we bring home, we invoke him, the Ganapati has invoked in that idol, in that this thing. And then we do all sorts of pujas. And at the end of the puja, we say you can go back now, go back with your own family or whatever it is. That is all worshipping God. That's not destination God. So slowly he is now taking us to increase, expand our vision. Today we have a very narrow vision. That vision he is trying to expand. So he is giving Vibhuti Yoga and Vishwarupa Darshanam. In fact, on the 7th chapter, he has already talked about 4 slokas on this Vibhuti Yoga. So I will read out those slokas. This is sloka number 8 onwards. Dasoha Mapsu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Shashisuryayoho Pranavaha Sarvavedeshu Shabdaha Ke Paurusham Nashu Punyo Gandha Prathivyam Cha Tejachasmi Vibhavasau Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu Tapachasmi Tapasvishu Bijam Mam Sarvabhutanam. I am the seed of everything. Viddhi Partha Sanatanam. Buddhimatam Asmi. Tejasvinam Asmi Aham. Balam Balavatam Chaham. Among the warriors, I am the biggest warrior. Kamaraga Vivarjitam. Dharmat Viruddho Bhuteshu. Kamosmi Bhardarshava. So he has already given a glimpse in the 7th chapter. But exclusive Vibhuti Yoga is chapter number 10, where he will give you why that Vibhuti, what is the purpose. So that means he is taking us step by step to this particular topic. In the Kenopanishad, there is one, in the beginning itself, they say, Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi. That is the only God. Destination God. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi. Na idam yaditam upasate. Na idam yaditam upasate. So whatever you are worshipping is not the ultimate God, not the destination God. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi. Na idam yaditam upasate. That means we should have a vision that everything belongs to Bhagavan. Nothing belongs to me. And because of our ignorance, Ajnanam, we attribute that everything is done by me. If there is a success, I try to take the credit. If there is a failure, I try to put the blame on all others. blame also is Bhagavan has given to you. If you have that Sarvatma Buddhi, then our life will be totally different. So Karma Yoga gives you an attitude that everything is, since Bhagavan has given everything, I am offering everything to Bhagavan. Krishna Arpana Vastu. And when the results come, because I am not the only one contributing for the result, there are so many factors which are contributing for the result. So treat that as prasada. So this attitude makes you to widen, expand your mind. And once the mind is expanded, naturally, we'll be able to accommodate everything. Then we will understand that the only God is there, but not many gods, because many gods are there for our understanding. Gradually we take, like a small child, how we make them, the baby walking, step by step. The first day itself, after the delivery, the child is not able to walk, slowly. So similarly here, we are now like a baby. So that is why we have a guru, we have Shastra, we have Bhagavad Gita. All these things, because we are now so mature, we have been ground in the samsara. We have gone through hardships, we have gone through difficulties. Everything we have suffered. Even in spite of that, Bhagavan says, you come to me, I will protect you. I am ever available. Yes, we do. We have bhakti. But that bhakti is not 24/7 bhakti. When I need something, then I go to Bhagavan, because that's like a begging. So instead of that, if you understand that everything is Bhagavan, all the creation is Bhagavan, all the other things we get, including diseases of bad, some of the unwanted things, what we get all sort of shocks. Immature death in the family, all these things, if you treat this as Bhagavan's gift, then your attitude is totally different. That is what he is talking about. From the 16th shloka, 16, 18, 16, 17, 18, 19, he is giving a glimpse of Vibhuti Yoga. It's the glimpse of Vibhuti Yoga. So it is only trying to expand our mind. I mean, from narrow mind, we expand our mind. When I say narrow mind, we are now worshipping God only, we have. But that worshipping God has to be changed to destination God, that is the Nirguna Swarupam, Nirguna Brahman. If now we are in Saguna Brahma, okay, you cannot overnight, you can go to this thing. It has to go through step by step. So we are only getting the initial steps to climb up. And for that, we have gurus, we have scriptures, we have like Bhagavad Gita, we have Upanishad, we have, same thing happens in the case of Puranas also. Because, if somebody wants to know Brahma Sutra, Brahma Sutra is one of the topmost granthas. But to understand Brahma Sutra, you should know Upanishad. If you want to know Upanishad, then you know what are the various Dharma Shastras. So you have to go to Ramayanam, you have to go to Mahabharatam. So there they teach you Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Liberation comes only through this thing. So everything is interconnected. So our life should be 24/7. We should have only Bhagavan in our mind. If that Bhagavan is in your mind, then your attitude will be totally different. Anything happens, any uneven things happens, any heavy shock comes, we will not get disturbed. That is what you call as his pratnya, his intellect has become steady. Sthita pratnya. We have seen Sthita pratnya lakshana. Prajahadi yada kaman sarvan partha manogadan. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. if I revel in myself, with myself, that is Sthita Prajna. Today what happens is, we feel that our Atma is our enemy. That is the reason why we want to go out and do for gossiping, we go for other entertainments, because we are not able to stay alone with us in our mind. That is what is solitude. So to get out of this harassment feeling of solitude, that you depend upon Bhagavan 24/7. Atmaneva Atmana Suttaha. So we will take up 16, 17, 18 in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnameva Vasishyate.
Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Namaskar, Mama.